Hello, my name is Frances Fox. Um, I'm trained in interspecies communication, remote viewing. All my psychic skills have been developed and honed and statistically analyzed. Um, and I chose the process through which I acquired this high level in each of these psychic skills in order to be able to do what I'm doing today, which is delivering extra information from the other dimensions. That being said, all of you should probably look at the difficult parts of your life with the thought that maybe your mission, the reason why you chose to be born in this very difficult incarnation, that maybe you can get a hint of what it might be. Many times, what we come to deliver to help others is something that we've been through ourselves. Certainly, that is my case. And people are not happy unless they are aligned with their mission or in the process of getting aligned with their mission. The mantra, I'll give it to you quickly, and then we will get into the maps and the information that I have. The mantra is, please God, help me with my intention to create a miraculously prosperous mission. Please God, help me with my intention to create a miraculously prosperous mission. Look at Elon Musk. He is aligned with his mission. It is so funny, the people who are accusing him of doing this having to do with money, and why would he be able to see stuff that relates to us having to do with money? Nothing that he does for money. He does it because this is what he thinks he needs to do. He feels good about. He wants to deliver it to the people. But I guess if you're part of the old school and of the paradigm that is collapsing, I guess that you don't get it. But what you need to do is unhook from the old paradigm because it has collapsed, evidence in Washington, D.C., and hook on to the new paradigm, which has much a higher guarantee of you being actually happy. Because you see, all the studies that have been done having to do with people and what makes them happy, what comes up always is people are happiest when they're helping others, not their own bank accounts. By the way, gossip. I am getting mail. Am I getting the important mail? I have no way of knowing. Since August the 22nd, I think it was, my mail was interrupted. Obviously, stuff was going on having to do with legal stuff, etc., that people didn't want me to know about. So I am getting mail. Somebody's letting the banks know that I've moved. We'll see where that all ends. But that's not really the gossip that I wanted to give you. The gossip I wanted to give you is that the bad guys are no longer sure that they're going to be able to stop Trump. The bad guys in Washington are not sure that they're going to be able to stay hidden under a rock. And the bad guys are scrambling and calling each other on the phone, hint, 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 about where it is that they need to move the money and where it is that they might be able to hide out. Now, I think a couple of them have like islands that they bought around Greece, those beautiful islands in Greece. I guess they're small enough islands that you could buy or something. Well, Jeffrey Epstein did that, didn't he? So, but with all those earthquakes over there, maybe they're the reason for the earthquakes. I'm joking, but not joking. So there is a mad scramble having to do with hiding evidence, which brings me to the first map I did today, which I put out earlier because I felt I was being pushed energetically, spiritually, to get it out and not to wait till 7 o'clock tonight. But let's review it with you now in case you didn't see it. This is the map of Washington, D.C. I've never sketched it before. And what I sketched was these 4 circles. There's bombs in each one of those areas. And there's something of a plan to do something to stop the vote for the new head of the FBI, which we all, apparently, even the bad guys know is going to be this Patel man, whom, by the way, I like. And so they need to stop this, and they're not quite sure, the bad guys, how to stop this. And if they could put a bomb in the building where Congress is, and then maybe if enough of the people who vote get sick or they die, then you can't have the vote, can you? What do you have to do? Wait for the next elections? What would you do then? I don't think that's ever happened. So they're like scrambling to figure out how do they stop the vote, which apparently they feel that the Congress is going to vote to okay Trump's choice, which leaves them totally scrambling. So I also, around the Capitol, it's all encircled with black magic. And Catholic University, is that an estate? I have no idea what it is, but there's a lot of hate towards Congress, the White House, or whatever. I don't even know where the buildings are, but I don't need to know where the buildings are. I just need to have a map and then sketch what it is that I see on the map. Even if I knew where stuff was, that would interfere with my ability to be really good at remote viewing, because I would already have a thought. And that thought always triggers an opinion, and you're not supposed to do that. So this is what I sketched, I don't know, around 12 noon. And then this is what I sketched a few minutes ago. Looks really good. The grounding is Nile green, which heart chakra, healing, earth. Great. Florida looks great. The same coast of Texas looks great. New York, Washington, D.C. area looks great. That's a healing energy, a heart energy. Try the pyramids in the Gulf of Mexico are even stronger. They're bigger. The only area is this area here, and I'm wondering, because I don't really know, but I will look it up now as we're speaking. Hold on, because I think, no, I'm not going to be able to. Anyway, this area is relatively close, or maybe it is where Chicago is. I guess I'm going to have to look it up. So you're going to have to wait for me a second while I look it up. I apologize. I was a little bit overwhelmed by the bomb thing. Which state is this? Wisconsin, Illinois, Idaho. Was Idaho there? Oh, darn. Right there. Maybe that is. Let me see where Chicago is. I'm looking at the maps. Chicago. Map. Oh, I can't tell by these maps. Oh, it's right there. Huh. So it is Chicago. Okay, so let me tell you about Chicago. And if it's not Chicago, because oh my God, it is Chicago. Okay, let me tell you about Chicago. Chicago has a huge portal. That is the reason why there's so many murders over the weekend. It's not that everybody in Chicago or too many people are sick in Chicago. It's that there's a portal to other dimensions, and the people in Chicago would be affected by it. So there's a lot of rage there. Now, I think they also started the picking up of the immigrants. I think they started in Chicago. I have no idea. Actually, I don't need to know. I didn't even need to look that up. All I needed to tell you was, you got a problem right here, which I think is Chicago. There's a lot of rage there, but we can see that the maps are clearing very quickly. This apocalyptic energies is, when you're pointed in the right direction, is really good. Okay, there's the map from... Sorry. It does not want me to do this. Okay, so this was yesterday. Okay, which was still good, and here's today even better. But we have this new thing. So what happened between yesterday and today, that this area would already be in a rage. Somebody can look that up. I'm just documenting it. So here we are. Today's a full moon. Should be a lot of emotions. Um, Pretty soon, I'm going to be able to start working on stuff that's really positive. But I already started to work on the issue of population collapse, which is really the issue of sex, which I know that the people in the government are not going to agree with that, but population reproduces itself because people have sex. Sex is an instinct. Why? Why? Savi Mantrita, you're looking it up. Where is Chicago in relationship to what I sketched on the map? Just to find out if I'm. So, the whole thing with sex, we have to look at. And as I told you, and I got an editor to accept my book, I'm paying her. She's not paying me. To edit the book that I'm going to put out first, and she'll have it ready within 2 weeks. And the name is Sex. We got to figure this out. That's the name of the book. And it has the articles that the Dolphins have given me on sex, all of which are excellent. But some of them are really like, wait, okay, sounds right, but that's very different from the way we live. A lot of good stuff. And I'm putting it out without me figuring anything out, even though I do think I have it figured out. I think St. Teresa figured it out for us. Um, and I'm going to put that out, and we are going to start on a lot more fun things on this podcast. Right now, we're in a transition, and I feel kind of bad for the people that have been able to operate without any issue having to do with bleeding this country dry. And I'm remembering. Remember, I've been an illegal alien twice. When I was born in Germany in an Air Force base, but the military denied me at the same time they were handling me, and they made me a Cuban citizen, which it didn't make any sense because I wasn't born in Cuba. I had never been to Cuba, but when I came to the United States, I didn't have enough papers because they didn't want anybody to know that I was a legit American, because if your father's military and you're born on a military base, you're automatically an American. They didn't want that. They wanted to be able to say, which they said when I was introduced to Kennedy when I was 12, that I was not an American. Okay, so anyway, I was illegal then when I came from Europe after the Second World War to the United States with my father, who was a U.S. military. And then in 60, we got sent, 59 or 60, we got sent to Cuba to do intelligence work for the CIA, which Fidel was screaming about, but of course it was totally denied. Well, I'm living proof that that was accurate, that the CIA was working there. And then when I came back over, which was 11 months later, I came back illegally. I didn't have proper documents. So I know all about illegal aliens. Too many people that I know have been or are illegal aliens. Obviously, I would have a soft spot for them. But the truth of the matter is that for a system to continue, there must be order. A system cannot continue if there is not enough order. And this country has not had enough order. From the top down, everybody figured out very easy ways to get money that they were not entitled to. It's not just the politicians. It's not just the illegal aliens that learn how to play the system having to do with welfare, etc. It's across the board. And that is changed. And that is changing. And it's creating, for me, a little bit of a personal issue in the sense that I have the people that follow me, all of whom speak Spanish. And we have named it the Mantrista movement. And many of them are illegal aliens in this country. Most of them are from out of the country. But everybody is very upset about what's happening to their people. So I'm sure that I've lost a lot of followers, or they don't even discuss the issue with me because of how I feel about it. But there has to be order. And I'm just going to repeat a story because we're seeing what's happening with the big guys. In terms of the small guys, I a housekeeper, and she was letting me know how when her relatives came from their country, she was bright and she was a nice lady, and they don't seem to feel in this country it's like a game. She was explaining how when they she would have like her sister was coming, she would explain to her how to get the most that they could out of the system. They just got here. They hadn't worked like all the rest of us. And she explained everything and how to get married, to be able to get more quickly her papers, and how to apply for this and how to apply for that. She herself had applied for a home for people that are poor, but she didn't need it because she was earning enough money on the side, and she had her own place. So she had this home that was empty, but that she had the right to have it according to papers, according to requirements, and so it was empty. So after several years, she finally gave it up because she said, I'm not even using it. It was like one of those places that they give to poor people. And every time people would talk like that, I would be ready to like grab them by the throat. Well, you know what? They broke the system. They're not going to be able to do that anymore. And then, of course, I am half Cuban. I like Cubans. I married a Cuban. My kids are Cuban, even though they were born in this country. But I came decades ago. I wasn't even there that long, but I was certainly raised with this a group of Cubans that had certain values, whatever. And I know that when the Cubans came over in 60, we in the university, the Cuban females had the highest grade point averages. And the Cubans, we all had, not me, because I was I had a job. I worked for free in the CIA, whatever. Uh, but everybody that could work had not one job, they had two jobs. So we were working, we worked hard, and we got places and we did well. But then the ones that are coming over now that were raised under communism, what they've been taught is how to play the system. If you're raised under communism, you're never going to get any place anyway. So what you learn is, from what I can see from them, how do you play the system? How do you get the most? What line do you stand in that you're not supposed to be in, and then you get an extra pound of whatever? And it's like a game, because in Cuba and probably the other communist countries, it's a game. You have to play the system. Well, Cubans are a lot of fun, so they would have made it into a game. And then they come over here and they play that game here. They've picked up people doing Medicare fraud for millions of dollars, and these Cuban people, they live in Cuba because they're a lot more comfortable over there. This has nothing to do with being Cubans. This has to do with how you're raised. It has to do with values, and it has to do with order. And why so much disorder? I'm not sure you're going to be able to do stuff like that too much longer with Elon around. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. Trump, that was such a great choice. Such a great choice. So I don't really have anything to talk about today. So I think we're going to cut this short now, but let's go ahead and let's do a mantra. Interesting. Trying to figure out what are the repercussions from saying that my children were born here, but we call ourselves Cuban. And that's an issue. But I'll tell you where that issue comes from. Where am I from? My father was Cuban. I was an illegitimate birth that was a setup by the military. My mother was German, at least certainly that's what I was told. And I don't look like my brothers and sisters, so obviously I have some blood in me that's not Cuban. And then I was made a Cuban citizen. And I wasn't a Cuban citizen. I didn't stop being a Cuban citizen until like 88. And I filed my papers like years before, but nothing ever happened. My husband and his friend, we all three filed together at the same time, the same day. They got their stuff, and I didn't until a couple of years later. They held back my stuff. But even whatever, I don't even know what I am. If there's a country that I'm loyal to, it's the United States. It's certainly not Cuba. I was in Tibet, tremendous influence on me, certainly not Tibet. So, and if you ask my children, it will be the same answer. It's the United States. So why do I say we're Cuban? I guess because we have a lot of habits of Cubans from way back, because we weren't raised under communism, which I guess maybe what the conclusion we could reach here is, what are we teaching the population today? Certainly, regular Americans think that you're supposed to follow the system and there's rules, and then you get the irregulars, and they're not just the immigrants. Look at who Elon is uncovering today. It's not the immigrants, it's our own people. So I don't know what to tell you on that, other than we are in very interesting times, and it looks like there's a lot of self correcting going on. And it looks like the people that are doing the screaming are the people that are going to be the most embarrassed. And there we go with the Mayan prophecy that the biggest issue at the end of end times, and that's where we're at now, got one foot into the golden age or two. The big issue is when people's darkness gets revealed. And that's what's happening in Congress today. So I'm not sure what needs to happen there in terms of what the Congress is going to do. That's not my job. But it certainly is what. It's not going to be Russia, obviously. It's not going to be China. What's going to take down this country or could have taken down this country is what Americans were doing in Congress, not the illegals, the people that allowed that. Those you have to look at. It's not the enemies that have been pointed at. Look, China's going to do this. Look, Russia's doing this. Look at, no. Look here internally. It's not just disgusting, it's really upsetting. You know what? I'm talking too much. Let's get on to the mantra. And we're going to do the shame one again. Being it that that's what the Mayan said is going to take down a lot of people, and it is. Okay, so the mantra is, even though I am ashamed, this is the mantra. It's a purification mantra. And you repeat it in your head. You can direct it mentally towards a part of your body. The shame would be in the second energy center that's sexual, 2 inches underneath your belly button. Oh my God. I don't know how many of you can actually see enough. I don't know if you see a wave of orange energy coming up. When I said 2 inches under the belly button, that's the sacral sexual center. The minute I said that I took my consciousness there, it like pushed a button, and this orange, which is the color of that energy center, started to come up. I don't know if anybody can see that, but it's also what has me smiling, because that energy center is called the house of joy, the house of sweetness. And if you notice that people, when they start a new sexual relationship, they have this certain smiles on their faces, and you go, you just had sex. Or it's different. It's not just happy. There's a joy to it, a very baseline joy to it. I have not just had sex, but I am very pleased that if I can think about that part of me, I can feel that energy. And you should be able to feel it too. Now, what am I doing having to do with this? This mantra, except I'm adding, so let's add it now. Even though I'm ashamed of my sexuality, I love and accept myself. We're going to change it. We've been doing this for several nights. We've been getting together at 8 with the Mantrista group, and we do like 45 minutes of this mantra. Even I am very happy with myself. That means that I'm getting very close to finishing with purifying my reactions to all the sexual abuse and the trafficking and all that stuff. This, even though I'm ashamed of my sexuality, has nothing to do, I'm not gay, okay? Let's start with that. It has nothing to do with your sexual choices. Okay, here we go. You should see the comments that are coming out from people as they're sharing what floats up and out of them when they do this mantra. So I'm going to put the Fox therapy video that has to do with the second energy center. This is the energy center that's the home of creativity, creation, our biggest creation. We make children from there. Huh? Population collapse. It's the center of sexuality. It's the center of manifestation. Um, if you're an artist, it's the center of creativeness. And a lot of people that are artists stop being sexual. Their sexuality is diminished because they use the energy from that center in their artistic creativity. This eye is doing some funny stuff, but I'm very stressed, even though I don't admit it. So, anyway, so this is a very important energy center. It's dead. All the texting that is done, microwave from your little cell phone, and you're texting down here, you're looking down to you don't text like this, you text like this. Where do you put your phone? If you're a man, near your private parts. Oh, darn, you're not as fertile anymore. With just a teeny bit of information, it's not that difficult to figure out why we have population collapse. One of the first places is Japan, and it's the place where they sell the least condoms, they have the least sex, they're not interested. Highest level of rate of electronics that are wireless and radiate microwave evaporates water. Your second energy center, creativity, sex, joy, its element is water. Put your cell phone there and stop asking questions. Just take care of it. It's ridiculous. But I know those are the spirits that have everybody blinded. Okay, let me stop complaining. Let's do this from 1 to 10. How do you feel? 1 is you want to slit your wrist, you're terrible. 10, you feel great. Let's do the gold dress. The tone will tell you where you're at in terms of frequency. Okay, looks really good. And let's do the music. And let's do 7 minutes. I don't know why 7 is a magical number. How do you feel? Isn't it neat how everything relaxes, even if you don't really have any interest in this particular subject? Just the fact that you're doing the mantra means there's an aligning of your energy bodies and a focus of your mind. And let's look at the white dress. Yeah, I see it much, much shinier. Okay. Okay. That's it. We'll be back. And we'd appreciate it if you would recommend the podcast, Francis Fox, News from Other Dimensions, on Spotify and on Apple. Thank you for joining me. Bye.